Hi there, and welcome to a Project Life process video. I have my photos that I printed up with my Zip printer, which is a Polaroid instant printer. I have them all kind of organized by day. I have one stack of photos. Sometimes it's only one photo for each of the days of the past week. And I'm planning to do a Project Life spread today that includes at least one card for each day of the week. So kind of like a traditional Project Life where 7 days is spread across a full spread. As you see, I was just going through some other supplies that I have there. This is my Creative Memories medium-sized box in which I keep all of my Project Life cards. I'm really only using my squared corner cards for this page and for all of the pages that I do these days. So I'm just pulling out those ones. They're not ordered by color. As you can see, all of my Becky Higgins rounded corner Project Life cards are all ordered by color, and that's a really easy way to use your Project Life cards, but I haven't been doing it that way because all of my square cards are just all in a big bunch. So these are two templates that I have that I just made using some scrap paper around my room. They're 12 by 12 pages, and I just used a ruler to basically just make a Becky Higgins Design A page, and that's what I scrapbook onto when I'm doing my Project Life process. So these are two Kelly Purkey kits. One is for home, and these are old kits from months ago because I don't subscribe to Kelly Purkey at this point. But this is a home kit, and then the other kit over to my left there is a technology themed kit. And so I started by looking through those cards and just kind of having a look at familiarizing myself with the supplies that I have on hand. In particular, I'm looking at the stamps because I'm thinking I'd like to do some stamping on this page. And so I'm just thinking about what stories I have to tell and what supplies I have to tell it with. And I'm basically picking out all of my favorite things here. And what I'm coming up with is this navy blue and pink / coral kind of a color scheme. And I've also got a couple of greens there and just kind of things that stick out I'm just putting on my table. And I'm going to start by just putting cards in each of the spaces. I know I want this spread to be a 2-page spread. And so I'm going to start by just kind of randomly placing things, and they might not stay here. It's basically, I want to know that I have enough cards to get me through this page. And then if I need to make some changes, I can make some changes as I go along. This just gives me like a template. Some of these cards are from the Hip Kit Club because I used to get their cards every month. They used to be a sponsor of my channel, and so they sent me a whole bunch of beautiful supplies. So all of those beautifully colored cards are all from the Hip Kit Club. I love those, but they don't coordinate nicely with these other cards that I have that are mostly from Kelly Purkey. I find Kelly Purkey's kits are a little bit darker in their color scheme, kind of like a lot of neutrals and like mustard oranges and dark blues and hunter greens and olive green and those sorts of colors. And so I can't really mix those with those beautiful hip kit cards that I was looking at a few minutes ago. So as I do this, I'm basically trying to balance my colors across this 2-page spread. And then I'm also just kind of picking out any other cards that I think I might like. I was putting some cards aside and then I lost them. I put other cards on top of them and ended up losing them. So I just had to go back and sort out and find the cards that I was putting aside. So basically I want a little subset of cards here so that I don't have to dig through all of my entire Project Life stash in order to make this page. Or this spread, I should say. So there's my layout. That blue paper basically has all of the days of the week that I'm planning to capture here, as well as a couple of other stories that I have that I don't have photos to go with. So I'm going to start by scrapping April Fools. And so I thought I have these two photos, one of the phone with the pop bottle in it, and then the other of my daughter kind of perplexed and wondering how the phone got inside of the pop bottle. And basically the label covers the hole in the bottle, so it looks like it just kind of, it's hard to tell how it got in there. So I'm thinking I probably don't want to scrapbook that on a complete blank piece of cardstock. So I've decided to trim down that white piece of cardstock that I'm scrapping on just a little bit to give me a pink border around the outside edge. And that will help to tie in this card with all of the other cards. So there we go. I'm just basically matting the white cardstock. And then I'm outlining it just to give it a little bit more definition. I'm actually triple outlining it. And then I'm going to put these photos down, and I'm actually going to peel off the zip printer actually prints onto sticker paper, and so I'll be able to just tear off the backing and apply those to the white cardstock. So I'm actually just taking a photo now of my workspace just so that you can see how I have it set up. So I have those 2 templates off to the side there, and then I have my little tray of embellishments, and then the workspace that you see right on the screen here. I just wanted to give you a sense of how I set it up. So now I went to my stash and grabbed my Project Life stickers. These are, of course, they could be used for things other than Project Life, but I tend to reserve these letter stickers. I've got a whole whack of those sassafras letter stickers from back in the day, and I also have some Kelly Perky letter stickers as well that I use for Project Life. I find that if I don't have too many options, I mean, obviously this is a lot of letter stickers. This is way more than a person would need for doing Project Life, but I do find that limiting myself to subsets of supplies really does help me make choices with my Project Life. Also, coming back to the same sets of stickers again and again really helps my overall Project Life have a nice consistent feel. I am not much of a coordinated Project Lifer. Like, I tend to make each card be an individual card, and my spreads don't always tie together from a design or a color perspective. So using consistent letter stickers throughout my album really does help to pull together my pages so that from week to week, although they might look really different, they at least have this similar font on them. And so I've been using these sassafras letter stickers for several years for my Project Life now, and the Kelly Perky ones as well for a couple of years. So I like how that looks. I'm going to outline the letter stickers with my black pen. This is just a Sharpie pen. It's nothing special, but it works quite well. I do enjoy my Sharpie pen. It's probably my most used new discovery. Like, I only started buying those Sharpie pens maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and I really, really love them. So I'm going to do my journaling over on the side, and it just says, "This year Scott and I pranked," and then I'm going to spell out pranked with these pink Kelly Perky letter stickers. And I just spelled the word pranked over on that blue piece of paper that I have that I'm jotting down ideas and stories on, the same one that holds my little piles of photos. And I'm spelling it out, and then I looked to see where the center was, and then I worked out from there. That just helps me to not make mistakes as I'm placing my stickers. Sometimes I've got a lot on the go with my Project Life, and it's easy to make little spelling mistakes. And it doesn't really matter all that much if there are spelling mistakes in it, but I want to avoid them if at all possible. So I'm just journaling about her reaction and also her sister's reaction, which I didn't actually take a picture of. Her sister was very like, "Oh, my phone's in a pop container." She didn't seem to care at all. I think she was expecting a much worse April Fool's joke. So here I am going to scrapbook this whiteboard. I just took a picture of the whiteboard, and there's a big shiny kind of flash bulb on it, but that's okay. It just says 23 days until Cuba, and I'll move that so that you can see it in a second. I'm basically just taking one of those labels. Those labels that I have set out in that tray, they're all Kelly Perky cut aparts, and I just put them on my brother's scan and print. And scan and cut. Cut and scan and cut. That's what it's called. It took only a few seconds to cut all of those labels with my brother's Scan and Cut. It was awesome. I'm really, really pleased with it. So here I'm just inspired by these Lawn Fawn framed stamps, which were too small for what I wanted to do. And I really don't like this. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it for now, and I'm actually going to come back and change this card quite a lot. Actually, I think I'm going to redo the whole card, but first I will do this with it. It says whiteboard to-do list, and I'm just outlining, and I am going to end up reusing the card and putting the photo on a new card at some point. Now, this is my roller date stamp, and I'm just realizing that it only goes up to 2018, so I have to find another one. So I ended up grabbing my Chamel roller date stamp, which you'll see momentarily, I think. It also only goes up to 2018, but it at least has a little blank spot for the year. So I just rolled out to the date and left the year in the blank spot, and I'm just going to use whatever ink I could find. It happened to be archival, and I just put the date right there. So now I have this photo of my cat sitting on my leg. It's not all that clear. She's actually sitting on my foot. And this is my funny, quirky cat. She's rather antisocial and weird. She comes looking for attention, and then as soon as you go to touch her, she runs away. So anyhow, she's lovely and adorable and hilarious, but very strange. So she loves sitting on my foot, and as soon as I bend over to pat her, she walks away from my foot. But if I stand still, she will come and snuggle on my foot. Whoops, sorry about that. As soon as I go to narrate a video, I become Miss Popularity, and people are texting me left, right, and center. Anyhow, I've silenced my phone, so that should be a stop now. This just says, silly kitty likes to sit on my feet. And I put antisocial next to that little checkmark box because she is rather antisocial. Now, that card was just bothering me that this early into this layout, I have a card that I really, really don't like. So I decided to pull that up off of the polka dotted background, as you see, and I'm just going to, this also isn't like the greatest card in the world, but it's a little bit better than I just didn't like my doodling on the other one. This one is plain, and I can come back and add something if I really want to. I'm going to hang on to that card even though it's doodled because I do like the blue and white polka dots. Now, I want this card with the picture of my daughter's school sign. I want to journal on a separate card next, like I want these two cards to go side by side. So I'm just going to peel the sticker backing off and put that down on this really bright, colorful card. And I decided to use this colorful card because it's just like, it adds such a splash of color compared to all the other colors on this page are rather muted. As I mentioned, the Kelly Perky kits tend to be a bit of a darker color, and so this adds some really bright, colorful lines to my page. Every once in a while, I just pull over my templates and take a look at how the pages are coming together, even though many of the cards aren't done. Just want to kind of keep an overall sense of how it's all looking together. So again, these are those sassafras letter stickers, and I'm using a different color here. So the first card, I used the navy blue ones, and now I'm using these. They're kind of like a purpley pink color, but they have a navy blue polka dot in them, or maybe like a bluish purpley polka dot in them. They're really, really pretty, and I think that they pick up on one of those purpley lines in the patterned card that I put behind the photo. But because it's the same font as the other cards that as the first card, it coordinates nicely, even though it's a completely different color. And it's actually a little patterned paper letter sticker. So I wasn't quite sure how this would fit, so that's why I put it on some wax paper just to test it out. I just cut a piece of another letter, probably a Z, to make that dash for the center of the word Academy. And then by the magic of video, the letters are on the card, and then I get to add my journaling, which says, Liv has really settled into the new school. We have... Oh, right. I journaled what time we leave home and what time we get to school and then what time I get to work. Basically, her new school is around the corner from my work. It's really, really close. So it's super duper convenient. Now, the next card I'm going to do is about my brother scan and cut. So this was the first project that I worked on. I had a bunch of these friends stamped images that I had stamped and colored at a crop that I went to with my friend Stephanie. She has these, I think they're Kindred Spirit stamps. I don't know for sure because it's a brand that I'm not really familiar with, but they make all kinds of TV characters. And so at the crop, I stamped a whole bunch of them and colored them in. And I had them at home here, and I had been hand cutting them, like fussy cutting them whenever I had a few moments. And I had dozens of them, like not dozens, but I had like probably 20 images altogether to cut, and I had only cut like maybe 3 or 4 of them. Then I got my brother scan and cut, and they were all cut within a moment or two. It was awesome. So I'm going to spell out the word brother here. And, you know, sometimes I'll use some wax paper and plan out my letter stickers, and sometimes I just wing it and throw them on. I don't typically wing it when I'm scrapbooking, but when I'm doing Project Life, the whole purpose of Project Life is for it to be, for me anyways, for it to be kind of quick and not too fussy. And so it doesn't matter to me if these letters aren't on there perfect. So, brother, scan, and cut. And I'll just reposition the N a little bit. And then I'm just grabbing an exclamation point. And then I'll do a tiny little bit of journaling at the bottom here that basically just says I was hesitant to get it for a while and then finally got it. And that's about all that it says. There we go. I'm going to underline that just to make it a little bit anchored to my page, and then again with the roller date stamp. So that's for Thursday. And I just decided to put some Tombow Mono Multi on this arrow. Basically, my Tombow Mono Multi is really disgusting. It's got all kinds of globs all over it, and basically the glue comes out of it as soon as you open the bottle. It must be pressurized or something. I think I need to open the other side of it to let the pressure kind of balance out or something. Anyhow, I thought that these blue letter stickers, although they're not the perfect blue, I think that they will provide a lot of contrast with the orange on this card. So it just says, Liv is still recovering from a bad case of, and now I'm spelling out pneumonia. And these are those Kelly Perky letter stickers. And I like the contrast that they give, that really kind of bright, almost like a cornflower blue. Is that cornflower blue? I don't know what exactly cornflower blue is, but that's what I think of when I hear the word cornflower blue. She's on antibiotics and missed school Monday and Tuesday. Oh my goodness, she has missed so much school since we put her in this private school. It's unbelievable. When she was in public school, she had a perfect attendance record. She had 0 missed days. And now it's just been one thing after another, which is really frustrating when you're paying for school. But it is what it is. So I'm deciding here, I love this card with the letters, with the words all over it, like kind of technology little phrases and stuff. And I really love the black and white version of that card, but I feel like the green just it just warms up the page a little bit and adds another color. So I'm going to go with it. It's right now, it's the only dark green on the page, but once I do another coordinating page, like the flip side of this page, like the facing page, I mean, I'll try to get some green in there. Now, that was looking a little bit too lonely there, so I'm actually going to matte. This is one of those 2x2 inch squares from those Paige Evans little tiny swatch book type of paper pads, the little mini pads. And I never use those. I keep them in with my Project Life stuff just in the hopes that someday I'll use it. So here's me using it. I do like it. It's like a cute little phrase. And I'm just going to go around it because it looked like it was getting lost in the busyness of that background page, of that background paper, I mean, sorry. So I like how that looks. And now I have half of my photos are scrapped and I'm at the halfway point. I'm ready to flip pages. So it worked out well. It doesn't always work out this well, but it did this time. So now I'm just going to spread out these photos and see how they're going to fill up this second page. And I don't always know exactly what I'm doing, but there we go. That'll do. And as I'm moving things around, I'm basically just trying to balance out on this page. So I'm going to start with this. It says, in like a lion, out like a lamb, but I have a photo of my car covered with snow, and it was just from this past weekend. Ridiculous. I can't believe it. We had a snow overnight, and we're going to get a giant snowstorm tonight. Ugh. So this won't be the last snow pocket page for me. Anyhow, I decided to use that card and then put the word not underneath of it. It's really not funny. So I decided to use another one of these cork arrows. It will pull in kind of like that repetition from the other cork arrow that I used somewhere else on the page, on the other page. And so again, I'm using my Tombow Mono Multi, which is my favorite glue for gluing paper to non-paper products. And I have another strip of this stripy paper, and I'm going to use my cheater method here to make it look like it extends behind the photo. I am going to trim down that photo. I'm using a Fiskars mini trimmer here. This is actually from Creative Memories. They sent it to me. No. My other one is from Creative Memories. This one is from Close to My Heart. They sent it to me. Both of those companies sent me mini trimmers, and I love them both. This one, the Fiskars one from Close to My Heart, what I really love about it is that it's really lightweight and it fits perfectly in this little cubby space on my desk. So I tend to use the Fiskars one. It's super lightweight. And like I said, it's very small and fits in the spot. The Creative Memories one is just as good. They both cut equally good. But you don't really need to, but they sent me one. So I'm happy to have it and to use it because it does fit better. So now this card is a little bit too busy for the story I want to tell. It's just like, see all those competing back and forth lines and stuff in different directions. I just don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to cover up some of this card with some other things. So first I'm going to trim down these photos a little bit so that I want them to be the same size and just a little bit shorter than they were, because I want them to be on this piece of pattern paper that I've doodled on a little bit, but I want them to mostly cover up all the doodles. I just want little smidgens of the blue and white showing through. And now I'm going to switch to this card, which is, kind of just as busy, but at least it's a brighter pink. And it's a little bit less busy, like it doesn't have those big bands of color. It's mostly just one color. But I did want to make sure that I had some of that orange color on here, like that corally orange. So I took another card and just cut off part of it. And that is what I'm going to do here. So that way I've got the pink, but I've also got the coral. Now these three little strips are kind of annoying me. So I think I'm going to put another one, I didn't want to introduce another color, so I picked a label that was the same color as the blue and white pattern paper, and it just basically covers up that distracting little white and kind of like alternating white and coral. Now, this home stamp set from Kelly Purkey from the kit, that it's from probably the fall of 2018. It has I think it says in the, and then you can put like kitchen, living room. I can't remember all the different options, but kitchen is one of them, and that's what I'm using. And so I've decided to use my Misty because when I stamped it once, it wasn't quite heavy enough, so I wanted to double stamp. So that's why I'm using my Misty. I apologize that it's out of frame here, but I'm basically just stamping that little rectangle. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll try to remember to move it up next time. And now I'm just putting the word kitchen in there. Aw. And inking up kitchen in a blue ink. It's actually Island Indigo from Stampin' Up, which is one of my favorite blues. There's how that looks. Isn't it nice? I love it. I really love it. So now I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to make a mistake here. So I'm cutting it out with the idea of, I like how using a trimmer gets me these nice long straight lines without worrying about having my scissors be kind of wobbly and stuff. But I ended up with too big of a white line there. So I'm just using my scissors after all, just to trim this down a little bit. I just wanted the tiniest little halo around the edges of that. So I get a lot more control with my scissors than with that trimmer. So I'm just putting that in the kitchen piece of cardstock that's stamped out onto a part of the photo that basically is like that white band on the top of the dinner plate photo. So this is a picture of Sophie making this really strange thing that she saw on Instagram. It is a wiener that's cut in half and then formed into a heart shape, and then you put it in a frying pan and you crack an egg in the middle, and you end up with this heart-shaped egg with a wiener outline around it. It's like a very strange food, but it was pretty yummy and really cute. So I'm just journaling that. It says, you can probably read it there. Sophie saw this idea on Instagram for wiener, egg and wiener, something or other. And then I noticed that there was an Instagram stamp in the Kelly Purkey technology stamp set. And then it says in my feed also. So I put that stamp there too, did my journaling around it, and now I feel like I need something in that little space there, and I thought maybe a little heart would be perfect. So I grabbed my little box of hearts, and the first one that popped out was this little gold one, so I thought that's good enough for me. I'm trying to not, go dig around too much for things when I'm doing my project life. I like to just kind of, if I want a heart, I'll just grab the first heart I can find that doesn't look terrible, and then we're good to go. So that one had a couple more layers and more stamping than usual on it, but I really like a couple of my cards on each spread to just be a little bit more elaborate, have a bit more of a scrapbooky feel to them, and that's what I think I get from this page. So there's a little spot there that says documented, so I just put the date there, and now I have this card, and I have to make a decision. So yeah, I wanted to use the white side of this, but I thought that with the card beside it also being white, it wouldn't work. But then I thought I'll flip over the card beside it, and now I can make this card be white. I like that a lot. So I'm stamping out the date, and then I'm just cutting it out of this little white spot on this other card. I will use this other card later on. You'll see it come up towards the end of this video. And then I'm just putting the little flag. I basically just wanted to cut it so that you could see a little bit of the stripiness behind it on all the different edges. Then I used a stapler to hold it in place, even though I did glue it down. And I'm just journaling about the fact that Sophie went cookie selling with her Girl Guide group at the mall across the street from where I work. Like, all of a sudden, everything is coming up Sunnyside. I grew up very close to Sunnyside, and then we got our lease and opened our office in Sunnyside, and now, like, the Girl Guides are selling cookies there all the time, and there's just, like, all kinds of things going on around Sunnyside. I feel like I belong there, which is good because I've got a 5-year lease, so I'm going to be there for a while. Yeah, so I just added a little asterisk in wood veneer, and I really like how that looks. Nice and simple. So this says, all my favorite apps are the ones that come before my meal. I love this phrase, so I definitely want to use it. I'd like to put a small food sticker underneath of it, and that little puffy sticker of a pretzel is kind of cute, although it's not really an app. I'm looking for something that could be an appetizer. So I'm just looking through all of my dimensional stickers here, and surprisingly, I don't have, or at least I'm not noticing, any dimensional stickers that are food. So now I went to my non-dimensional stickers, and I knew I could count on Amy Tangerine to give me something cool and yummy to put on this card. So there we go. I like that one. It's just like a little bottle. It's a little bowl of noodles, and I like it a lot. So this photo I really want to put on this yes card, and I'm struggling a little bit with where to put it. I decided I'm just going to put it lined up right above the yes. These photo stickers are actually quite forgiving. I thought they wouldn't be. That's why I haven't been using them as stickers, but they actually peel right off if you put it in the wrong place. And it doesn't like ruin the photo. It doesn't get all like, I thought it would be crumpled up or something if I tried to pull it off of something. I'm using white Lawn Fawn ink sometimes for my date stamps. It is a pigment ink, so it takes a long time to dry. It may never dry. I'll get back to you. I'll let you know if that ends up being something that I regret. This card isn't one of my favorites, but you know, they can't all be your favorite. So this one is done now. Added a little label. Now this next card I'm going to spend a little bit of time customizing. I didn't like that this little image and phrase was in the middle of the card because I felt like it made it really difficult to use as anything other than a filler card, and I'd like to use it as an accent on this photo card. So I cut down my photo and I cut the phrase and image off, and now I'm going to do this. But I don't like how those journaling lines are showing underneath of my photo, and so I thought about doing this. Whoa, that's pretty intense. And then I thought, oh, maybe this is how I'll do it. And I really like that combination of navy blue and really pale pink. I like that quite a lot. So that's what I'm going to go with. You can see some of the words sticking out behind the photo, but that's okay. I don't mind so much. They're very pale. They're white on a very pale pink, so they're not that distracting or anything. And again, this is just another example of how with Project Life, I'm trying not to be too perfectionistic, although sometimes I'm a little perfectionistic. So I'm just going to adhere this navy blue piece with a tiny little strip of pink, and then I'm going to adhere this navy blue piece with a bit of a larger strip of pink, and then I will put the photo in the middle of that spot. I did matte the photo with white, which cut down a little bit on how much of the white words were showing underneath, and then I also did some journaling. I put a tiny little caption as another way to take away from the fact that there was some white letter showing through. There were some white letters showing through. So this is another card that's going to end up with a real scrapbooky look to it. It's going to have some layers and whatnot. Now that photo of my shake actually turned out quite gross looking. It's not really that orangey color. It's more of a purpley color. I don't know what happened with the printer there. I didn't put a filter or anything on it, so I'm not sure what happened there. Anyhow, I'm just going to cut down this this card. I really do like that dark card. I wish that the photo wasn't so similar to the color of the paper. I'm basically combining a whole bunch of cards here. As you can see, I glued that photo or stuck that photo onto that card that I had already used a part of for my date and on another card. And then I'm just going to put these two together. I didn't want them to be the same size so that they would layer a little bit nicer. I find it really difficult layering 3x4 photo, like 3x4 cards, because they, it's hard to layer them because they're the same size. So now I'm going to put my title for this card on this little Kelly Perky label sticker that was on one of the cut-aparts from one of those months back, probably about a year ago, or at least 6 months ago. And I'm going to spell out the word smoothie, except I spelt it wrong on my little blue paper that I have all my photos lined up on. And so I'm just gonna start from the beginning instead of starting at the middle. So there we go. Now I'm realizing that I don't quite have enough room for the E, so I had to scooch them together a little bit more, and then the E is just going to kind of fall off the edge of the label. And I like this title on its side because it covers up those journaling lines on that other card. And then I stopped and had a bit of a lunch break, so sorry about the milk showing up there. And lastly, I'm going to layer this little piece of stripy paper. As you can see, I got a lot of use out of that one 3x4 card. It shows up on 3 different spots on this spread. Then I thought I would put down a list of the ingredients in my smoothie. The first picture shows all of the ingredients in but not blended, and then the second photo is basically a picture of the inside of the smoothie cup, with it all blended up. So we're almost done. I just have this bottom right-hand corner to do. And as you can see, that my favorite apps are the ones that come before meals, brings the second hit of that dark green to the other page. So that flipping that around not only gave me a chance to use the white side of the card beside it and not have too much white, but it also allowed me to have that second element of the green color. So the color scheme is kind of mostly pinks, navy blues, and corals, but also that hit of green every here and there as well. And there's green in some of the photos too. So for the bottom, I have, I made a mistake in my journaling. So I just flipped it over and I thought, oh, well, it'll be another blue card. I had actually wanted this card to be the coral, but that's okay. We can roll with it. And so I'm just writing some journaling about my stepdad, who was in the hospital getting some surgery, and he's was discharged. And so I wrote that down. I don't have any photos from that. There are some photos that, like, I have some photos that I could put with that if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. And I might kind of scrapbook that or do something about that at another date. So I'll leave my thoughts about that for another time. So again, I'm using Tombow Mono Multi for gluing non-paper to paper items. And I just keep my wood veneers in these little stackable cases. I get them at Michael's, and I don't know what they're called, but you can find them at Michael's, if they still make them. I haven't been to Michael's in a very long time, but I really love this card. It's so cute. It's got these adorable little pieces of furniture and stuff, and I think I'll save that card for a time that I go shopping at IKEA. So I'm looking for another card because I didn't want to just put random furniture. I don't really have anything to say about that. And this IRL card really stood out to me, so I wanted to use it for something about technology. And I have this iPhone sticker here, and I don't think I'm going to use it. I was going to use it above the stamp, but I'm just not going to use it. That stamp says something about we turn off our phones or something. I'll show it up close in a little bit. And that's from the technology stamp set from Kelly Perky, from one of the kits from about 6 months ago. It says, put your phone down, and it's pointing down. And I thought I could do some journaling in the letters of the IR. And then the stamp is on the L. And so, yeah, in real life, we put our phones down. And I just wanted to heat set that because I stamped it in VersaFine, and that takes a while to dry. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't smudge it with my hands. And so now I'm just journaling about the fact that we have designated downtimes when we don't use technology in our home. I didn't say that when the times are, they kind of vary depending on the day of the week. But we have from 5 until 8 p.m. no technology, and also no technology after 9 p.m. So basically they just get an hour there from 8 until 9. Just trying to figure out how I can best staple that little star. That I looked for those cork stars. They're from Freckled Fawn, and I wanted a star there or a heart or something, but I wanted it to be cork because there's cork on the other page, so that kind of pulls the cork elements over onto this page. So there we go. I'm trying to make sure that we've got repetition happening. So where I put some wood veneer on, I wanted to put wood veneer in a couple of places. Where I put cork on, I wanted to put, there's basically a triangle there of cork. And now I've decided to do some sewing over at least some of the sassafras letter stickers that I have here. And after I do the sewing, I'm just going to cut the threads off so that they're not hanging all over the place. And so I'm not going to show you all of the sewing because it's kind of a lot, but I didn't sew on every single card, but on a lot of them. I just wanted to give you a sense of what the process is like for sewing on cards. So I'm going to sew on this one as well. And I just tried to make sure that I went through everything. So that little dash, for example, I just made it so that my sewing machine would go through the dash as well. So basically not every single place that the sassafras letters show up, but many of the places where the sassafras letters show up, I did some sewing over them. And this is what I end up with. And now my final touch after the sewing is just go over this with some enamel dots and just put them every here and there. So I really like the look of that heart puffy. It's actually a puffy sticker, but it looks like an enamel dot under the Faith, Hope, Luck. And then I put 2 more enamel dots on this in real life card, and I'm going to put, and that's just kind of like a cute little tone on tone kind of a look. Then I decided to put some blue stickers around. I thought that one looked kind of cute right there beside Nixie, and then I'll put a second one there too, and I ended up stapling them together as well, or stapling them onto the layout. Those are puffy stickers, not enamel dots, so you can staple over them. There's that card I don't care for so much. I just put another little blue puffy heart there. I don't like that so close to the other one on the Faith, Hope, Luck one, but well, it is what it is. It's fine. I could always change those around or something, but anyhow, I added 2 more little hearts here. It just picks up on the blue that's elsewhere on that card, like the word pneumonia as well. Okay, so here are the close-ups of the cards. We have this one. It says, "This year Scott and I pranked the girls by putting their phones in pop bottles. Then we called them and waited for their reactions. Sophie didn't react strongly, but Liv found it funny." Then this, I have to say, is not my favorite. Let me just do a little something here. Okay, so here's this one. It's just a photo of our whiteboard to-do list. Faith, Hope, Luck. I just thought this was cute. Another one of my not so favorite. There, nice wobbly lines on things that aren't my favorites. Picture of my cat. I like her name Nixie all spelled out there. Silly kitty loves to sit on my feet. This is a card about my daughter's school. Bedford Academy. Liv has settled in nicely at the new school. We leave home at 7:50, drop her off at 8:15, and I'm at work by 8:25. Then this is just a picture of the front of the school. Then this card about Liv having pneumonia. Liv is still recovering from a bad case of pneumonia. She's on antibiotics and missed school Monday and Tuesday. Brother scan and cut. After months of hesitation, I finally bought this electronic cutter. Filler card that says, I believe in the good things coming. In like a lion, out like a lamb, not. And then a picture of my car covered in snow in April. Then this card, which has quite a bit of layering compared to many of the other cards. Sophie saw this idea for heart-shaped eggs in wiener on Instagram, and then some stamping. It turned out cute and yummy. And I did some stamping here and some stamping there. This is just a journaling card with two little heart veneers. A filler card with a noodle bowl sticker from Amy Tangerine. This is just a journaling card with a tiny bit of embellishing right here. This is a card made out of two other cards. This is another homemade card. Very strange. It gets the story across though. This is another one that isn't exactly my favorite, but it's got the story done. And I really like this one. And that's it. So here are some photos of the completed spread. Some overall photos followed by some close-up photos of some of my favorite parts or the more interesting parts anyhow. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, kudos to you, because my scrapbooking process for Project Life is super, super long. It took me 4 hours to do this, and I find that if I speed it up any more than 4 times the speed, people have a hard time following along. I've tried that before, and I just have to face the fact that my Project Life process videos are just going to be longer than my 12 by 12 page videos. So anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed it despite its incredible length. Take care and have a really great scrappy week. Feel free to watch any of my other videos here, and leave me a comment if you've got anything to say about Project Life or scrapbooking in general. Take care. Bye-bye.